Hi, this is Vicki from Grammy Bee's Junk Journals. Thanks for stopping by my channel. It's about 1 a.m. in Michigan. I'm getting ready to go on a trip tomorrow and I can't sleep. I'm sure some of you out there have had that same problem. So I came out to my studio to see what I can get into, and I think I've decided on a tag using a little girl from a vintage sewing pattern. And then as I was going through my stash, I found some sewing patterns that I forgot about. I've got a whole drawer of them, and it's just been quite a little bit since I've been out here playing. So I'm gonna do a little show and tell. Then I'm gonna start making a little tag, and these are some of the goodies that I've prepped for that. Before I get started on that, I want to share some of these very, very cool patterns. I got these, well, you know, I thrift, and there's a special antique mall that I love to go to in Ohio, and that's where I got many of these. But I absolutely love these. I forgot I had these in my stash. I don't like to say this, but I think I might be hoarding these. I don't want to cut into them. They're just so perfect. I love them. I don't know. I can think of so many things that I can make. And this one, oh my gosh, Chatty Cathy. Is this the cutest? I got this one for $1. Let's see, what's 1964. Oh my goodness, I could cut those apart. 5 little people. I love it. Plus all of the pattern pieces inside that you can use. Now, this is the season for yard sales, friends. So if you have time, get out there and go to some yard sales, because you never know what you can find. I always say that you never know what kind of treasures you can find, and this is the season, so you don't want to miss out. And look at the men. It's hard to find men in sewing patterns, but as I was going through my stash, I found about a half dozen of them, so I was lucky. And so you want to look out for those. These make great pieces to put on cards or men's journals that maybe you might want to gift to a man. So pay attention, look for these, and these patterns are just in perfect shape. And then just a couple more that I pulled from my stash that I love. Just love those. So anyways, some great patterns that I will be cutting up one of these days. I'm going to be using a card from this jumbo plain card. These are 5x7. I've got this at a thrift store, and I have used these in many other of my videos. So if you haven't seen them, go back and take a look. These are great. These are great to use for journal making, putting them in your, tag making, putting them in your journals. And you get so many of them, like 54, I believe, around that number. So great find. You can pick these up for hardly anything. So we're going to use one of those. We're going to use a little bit of ribbon. This was from a thrift store. I love these. These were from a thrift store. I always look for these kind of cards. You get a double deck, and they're vintage, and I absolutely love them. And I like to tear them and use them as collage pieces. So we're going to use one of the cards. And let's see what else. We are going to use a little bit from this vintage school paper. And we're going to use a little bit from this 1935 music book. I've got a ton of these, and I try to use these. I love to use these in my collages, and like the background of the pages. Those are great. I'm also going to use a couple snippets from pages in this Better Home and Gardens book. and I know I'm pretty close to it, but I wanted you to be able to see the pictures. These are great. You can find these, and they're all over the place, thrift stores, yard sales, you know, antique stores, you name it. You can find these for hardly anything. And so I like just to, you can definitely use a text. You can use the different colors. You know, these make great pieces in your collages. If you look up here, you see that you could, if you had a punch, you could punch that out for different shapes in your collages. You could fussy cut around. You could put some solid paper on the back and use these just for journaling spots. The same with any of these larger pieces. You could cut those words out and just use the words, or use some of the letters if you were trying to build some different sentiments or just sayings in your journals or your cards. You might be a card maker. I love to make collage cards. Let's see if I have one here real quick. Let's see. So just a little show here. This is a collage postcard that I made, and here is a collage birthday card that I made. So you can see the different elements that I used: a plain card and lace and different kinds of papers to build it up in the background. So I love to make collage birthday cards as well. But today we're going to make a tag, so I'm going to try to keep on moving here. Let's see, the other thing I wanted to point out today was some of this textured paper, and I have mentioned these in my other videos as well. At the Dollar Tree, and I don't know if they still have them. I'm sure they probably do. It's been a bit since I've bought any, but in the past at the Dollar Tree, I have purchased bags of assorted different kind of textured paper. And I love these because you get just a variety of all different kinds. I like to just tear them apart to use in my collages, but I also like to stamp on them and then tear them apart and ink on them, and they make great pieces to include in your collage as well. So if you have a Dollar Tree around you, keep an eye out for those. Because they're really fun. They're just little bits and pieces, different colors, and they're fun to stamp on. They're just fun to tear apart and use in your collages. So, all right, moving on. All right, so I have taken one of those jumbo cards already, and I have glued it onto a music sheet. I just wanted it to dry a little bit, and I didn't want to take up a bunch of time here. I tend to get my videos long, and I am out in the middle of the woods, and sometimes it's really hard to upload them, and it takes forever to get on YouTube. All right, so I'm just going to get this out of the way. I hope everyone is having a wonderful summer. It is hot in Michigan. Winter was here forever. I don't think we even had a spring, and then it just went crazy hot. I mean, crazy hot for us. I know some of you southern folks would think I'm crazy, but when it's, you know, 85 and 95 up here with 90% humidity, it's pretty crazy hot for us. So, all right, so I've cut that out, and this is going to be the background of it. And then here we have this. So what we're going to do is glue this to the back. That way we can use it for a journaling spot, or you could add a photo to it. And so I'm going to go ahead. Now the glue that I'm going to use today for my paper is UHU stick. It works very well. I also, my go-to is a liquid glue, which is art glitter glue or the PVA glue, and I do love both of those as well. And I'm just going to put some glue on the back of this. Sticks pretty good. See if I can do this without making a mess. And I'm just gonna put it, actually I'll put it right over here. Oops, no I'm not. See, it sticks really well there. Okay, and I'm gonna put the top on. I got the fan above me. I do not have air condition, so that's another reason why I tend to complain about the heat, because I'm always hot. All right, so I'm gonna move this back up a little bit here. All right, I'm gonna cut this out, and then both sides of that card will be covered. And one of the reasons I love these big jumbo 5x7 cards, not only do you get so many and they're so thick and sturdy, but you have got a lot of real estate on them for your collage making, and I just love it. Okay, now we'll get that out of the way here. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and ink up the edges, and I like using these little photo cases for my distress ink. And let's see, here's another one I wanted to show you too. So if you have the little inks, the little distress ink, this works, these little cases work really great. I don't have a huge stash of these, but this little case works great. And I put the little cotton on the bottom, and then my little dauber here, I just, you know, go like this and lift it up, and there you go. And it just stores very nicely, just like that. So if you haven't tried that for storage, you might want to. It works great for me. And today I'm going to use brushed corduroy. It's a little bit lighter, like a tan. And I'm just going to ink the outside up. So in a couple hours, we'll be leaving to go to Ohio to pick up three of my grandchildren, and they are gonna come and stay with us for 3 weeks. So I'm very excited about that. We've got all kinds of things planned. We have the county fair 1 week. We're gonna go camping 1 week, and then our little town near us has a splash pad. So we will be doing daily trips to the splash pad and the library. Our little library has all kinds of fun kids programs, so I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And then it'll be probably next year until I see him again, so that makes me sad, but I won't dwell on that right now. Okay, so we are, whoops, I'm gonna actually leave that out because I'm gonna need that later. Okay, so we're all set there, and now I'm gonna start building. So with this tag, I'm gonna have a pocket here in front. I like to have, not all of the time, but I do like to put pockets on the front of these large ones because they are so big and they make a great spot for tucking things. So I have already pulled out a couple of pages from that flower book, and so this is one of them, and that's going to fit really nicely up here. I think I'm just going to tear a little bit more before I ink. I want a little bit more of that music page showing in the back. Okay. All right, then I'm gonna go ahead and ink the edges up just a little bit, just to give it a nice vintage vibe. Yeah, I think that will be good, like that. And then I'll go ahead and put some glue on it. Now I love taking these little, taking the patterns with me on my trips. And that's where I do a lot of my prep work for those. And I am going to share, just in case you have not used any of these, I want to give you some ideas, some helpful hints. There, I'm going to put that up top just like that. And so if you have not cut out any of these, if you haven't used these yet, I start with the patterns, and I will cut the front apart, and then what I do, I have these little, put that back on so I don't get my hands in it. This is what I take on my trips with me, one of these pouches, and I will either use file folders or sturdy cardstock. And so what I'll do is I will cut the pieces off the front, and I'll glue them on my cardstock or my file folders. File folders work really well, and then it'll look like this, and then I just fussy cut them, or I'll glue them on, and then I will fussy cut them, and then they will end up like this with the backing, and that just makes it nice and sturdy, so it's not going to tear on you, because when they're old paper like that, they tend to tear. And so then I just, from there, I have my Ziploc bags, and I will just store them in here, and then they are all set for me to use whenever I feel like using them. And they're also ready for me to take on my trips. I'm gonna take this with me today and work on cutting some more out. So if you haven't used those, you might want to, because it is a lot of fun, and there's so many adorable projects that you can make. And you can go back to my playlist and check some of my journals and different collage projects, because I love to use them. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna tear a little bit of, I don't want to tear a lot because I just love the roses, but I do want to give it the tear look, I shall say. I'm just going to kind of go around that flower a little bit, like that. I love to do that, and then we're going to ink it up. Just a little bit where I tore it. Okay. So I'm going to kind of build it before I start gluing them on. Now I'm also going to use this as a guideline. I have cut this from a piece of cardstock, and I put the piece right over my card, and then kind of cut around it. So this will be my pocket piece on front. So as I'm layering my collage pieces, I want to make sure that I'm going to be able to see them where I want after I get that pocket piece on. And then I want to also make sure that whatever I decide to put in the pocket doesn't totally cover up my cute little girl that I love so much. So that is the reason I put the flowers up top, so that this little pocket piece wouldn't, cover that up. So, all right, I have a piece of lace. I pulled out a ticket. I pulled out a piece of that textured paper, and then my card. And I really think that that's, oh, and I have a little stamp with some flowers. How cute is that? I thought that would be really cute. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I do want to ink my pieces, and I also think I want that lace behind the little girl. So I am going to use, I hope I have my Fabri-Tac someplace here. And why don't I have Fabri-Tac? Ah, there it is. I've been working on my grandchildren's scrapbooks, and I had to glue some rickrack on one of the spreads, so I took my Fabri-Tac on my other table. So, all right, here it is. So I always use Fabri-Tac when I am gluing fabric or lace. It just holds it really nicely, and I'm just gonna put like that, just gonna put it on there like that, and then kind of, I want to make sure I can see it. Yeah, that'll stick. This, it's really strong. I use so much of it. It's a little pricey. I don't like the price of it, but it works wonderful. Okay, then let's see. And actually anything you put on top of that, you're gonna have to use, I would recommend that you use the Fabri-Tac to make sure that it all adheres down. So I think I want my little girl up there like that, and my card like this. Actually, I want that about right there, I think. Maybe like this. And then I think I'm going to put this back here like this. Maybe this little ticket. I want to kind of cover this up down here. Let's see. I think I'm going to actually pull in another piece of that background to put down here because, see that? I want that covered up. So, all right, that's what I'll do. That's what I will do. Okay, so I'm just going to start gluing things down, and the first thing I'll do is glue that pretty card down, and we'll see how it works here. All right, put this like that. Then I'm gonna use the Fabri-Tac on all these little pieces because they're going on that lace, and I want to make sure it all sticks down really well. So, oops, and I want this one behind the little girl. Love that textured paper. It's just, I love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, so we're gonna put that there, and I think we'll put that little girl. She's so cute. Okay, now I don't know if you've seen that. See her hand? Sometimes when you are cutting the people out of those patterns, there are pieces that you have to cut away just because they might be next to something, they might be next to another person, and you tend to lose part of a piece of it. But that is absolutely okay because you can always cover it up. You can always hide that, and that's absolutely fine. So don't worry about that. If you're, if you're cutting those and maybe she's holding hands with another child, or, maybe she's standing behind a wagon or something like that, that's okay because, when you're using, when you're collaging, you just kind of build on top of each other. So you can hide it. All right, so we'll put that there. And I'm going to put this back so I can get an idea of what we're doing here. I just want, I'm going to hide her hand. I don't know if I even like that ticket, to be honest. I think I will if I ink it up. Everything looks old, and then that ticket doesn't. So I think we can distress it a little bit by inking it up, making it look a little bit old. And I'm just gonna go like this. There. There, I think that will help. And I'm gonna ink this little stamp up a little bit. Go through the aging process. That will work. All right, so I'm going to use my PVA glue and just give it a little bit here like that. And then, oops, I'm going to have to use my Fabri-Tac for my stamp. Okay, just like that. All right. Now, let's see what else. I think I'm ready to go ahead and, nope, I'm going to I want some of these flowers on the front of this, and I'm thinking I would really like some of the pink. All right, let's see. I'm gonna have to put it behind here. Well, I tell you what. Now I want it like this, so I'm gonna have to flip it over, and we're just gonna be surprised what comes out on the other side once I cut it. Is that gonna be right? Yeah, we'll see. I might be doing this backwards. Very well could be doing it backwards. It is maybe 2 o'clock in the morning now, so if I do it backwards, I will blame it on lack of sleep. We'll see. We will see. All right, I'm gonna cut it out, and we'll see what it looks like on the other side. See if it's gonna be all right. I think I'm going to run it through my sewing machine. I love the look of stitching on these tags. All right, did it work? Let's see, did it work? Okay, it did work. Look at that. Okay, so we have some flowers in the front, flowers in the back. Now this is really popping out at me, and it's screaming at me saying, please ink me up, ink me up. So that's what I'm going to do. I don't know that it's going to really show up on these bright colors, but that's okay. So now, what could you put in the pocket? You could make a smaller tag and put in the pocket. You could put a photo in the pocket. You could put a gift card. You could put a packet of tea. I think that would be lovely. All right. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and glue that pocket in place, and so I'm gonna put glue here and here. Then I think we need a little bit of something on that pocket just to tone the flowers down a little bit, and I'm thinking maybe some lace. I love my lace. Do I want more lace? Let's see. Ooh, I like it. Okay, I think I'm just gonna snip me a piece of this vintage lace. I think that will be lovely. And what else? I am thinking maybe we could do a bird. We could. Or how about one of these watering cans? Of course, I think I went off camera a little bit. Sorry. I had to sit down for a second. All right, so I'm just going to tear this. I stamped it. This textured paper that was stamped, and I think I'm going to use this because I really like it. I'm going to go ahead and ink the edges up. Oh my, I love it. Love it, love it. You've got all the flowers and you've got a watering can. And do I want that bird? I don't think I want that bird, but I think I do like that though. What do you think? Let's see. Get a piece of paper. And here's our pocket so we can fit something right in there. I think that would be good. I do. At the top, now I think I'm gonna add, so I'm pondering on this. I'm wondering if, I'm gonna ponder on that for a second. But I will add this little ribbon at the top, like so. I think I will just sew that in when I sew around the outside. And I think I will add this button like this. I'm gonna give that some thought. I'm gonna go sew around and I'll be right back.